It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo. Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Tope Makodige.
Yo, yo, yo.
How you doing?
I'm good.
How was your weekend?
Weekend was... I spent about 6 hours in traffic on my way to Bejuleke and back on Saturday. But earlier in the day, it was a power-packed Holy Spirit encounter time. It was a major prayer session with Jumoke Adenowo. The program is called Paradigm Shift. And, you know, I liked the perspective of someone in the marketplace, a super architect, recognized among the top 50 architects in the world.
Wow.
Taking ministry on, like, this is what I want to do. I'm blessed in architecture so that I can bless people in ministry. And contrary to people going to do prayer points and you're praying for prosperity, all of that, we spent almost 2 hours praying for Nigeria. And she said there's no prosperity you can have in a country that is at war, in a country that is in crisis. So until Nigeria has peace, our individual prosperity will not amount to anything. So the time was invested heavily into praying for Nigeria. And I sincerely believe that things would change because there was so much passion. Everybody, young, old, praying eagerly that things would change at every realm of affair. However, I got a message that they said there's a video going viral that those that took vaccination, they are having magnets holding in their hand. I said, magnet did not gum my hand. It didn't gum my husband's hand. It didn't gum everybody here. That video is not valid. So we cannot make it a hot topic. Somebody has been sending me a message. We should talk about it on the show. No. It is not valid. It's not what is happening here. Go and get your vaccines.
We've all been vaccinated.
Yes, first and second. Go and get your vaccine. So there's nothing wrong with us. We are fine.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. See, over the weekend, I told you about my neighbor that we recently became friends. My neighbor for many years. We didn't even, I've never even seen her. But in the last year, we've become friends. And she introduced me to this club for young girls. So Ima has joined them. And they do things like sweeping, mopping, baking, cooking on Saturdays. They study.
Whose house? Somebody's house?
No, it's a church.
Okay.
Yes, and then they groom girls. So it's like a grooming club. They groom girls from age 8 to, you know, into their teens. I felt so blessed. I'm like, this relationship is just
mutually beneficial.
Timely.
I mean, I just needed that sort of person at the time. Because she grew up here in Lagos, there's some Kurukeres, Lungus that she knows that I did not know. I'm like, how long have you lived here? I said, I've lived here. I just know the main streets and everything. So I'm just so happy about that. And there's also a place for boys. And, you know, many times we criticize churches for not doing enough or do something. But there are some times that maybe you just need to step in and ask questions to see what they're doing a lot. So today is for churches. Well done for the good that you do for us.
Most of us were groomed in the church. So if you were not in that, if you're not born in that space, you may not know what the churches are. You just assume they are all coming to collect their tithes and their offering. They are actually doing a lot in the lives of, when you go to all these music talents and all of that, they were groomed from the church. Instruments. A lot of things. That ability to speak to the public today is because of we started preaching in church. It's part of how I'm doing. So I'm all right. The weekend was a roller coaster one. My son came home and was sick from school. He had said infection or whatever. So we've been battling hospital and all that.
That thing was running its course.
That's so the temperature is going up, down, and he's still struggling to eat, but hopefully he'll be fine soon. Everybody has missed him. He's the party. In the house. Everybody is everywhere. He's doing things. I had to do a photo shoot for my product on Sunday, and I had to beg him, please come downstairs and play music. I've not done with music since we were in school. Like, he's the one that operates all the gadgets, and he just struggled to do that for me. But I'm grateful to God, and I know that he'll be fine soon. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. You know, my mom is going to be 75 tomorrow.
And she's silent on...
This year is all about my mom. I don't want to do anything with her. I don't want anybody to call me. Just let's focus on my work this year. So we're just all gearing up. She's not in a big party. It's just stay in the house, family, just, you know, come around. Just
we are family now.
Yes, now we are coming out.
We are family.
I feel hot.
But certainly, you can always pop by. It's not a big deal. So
as long as you're vaccinated, we don't want people to
of course I'm vaccinated.
So, we're good, we're good. All right, just so much. Let me see.
What's happening? We have on the table.
TVC, We got it. So the Rotary District, I think it's 10. My glasses, am I reading right? Okay, I'm reading it upside down. District 9110, Rotary Humanitarian Reporting Award presented to TVC Entertainment. Whoop, whoop. We're excited about that.
Yay.
And us, specifically for Your View, says the International Association of Lions Club, District 404B2 Nigeria, District Governor Appreciation Award, given to TVC Your View. Thank you so much. This means a lot to us. We don't take it for granted. There are lots of awards. We don't announce everything, but we'll try to start announcing the awards now. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. God bless you. Okay, let's go on a break now. When we come back, it's Monday. So much is happening. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, let's start with the punch. 17 Southern governors discuss Buhari's land recovery order for herders. Picture here of Agbado, Kiaro Road in Agbado in Ogun State. My husband being maltreated in Benin Republic custody for defending Nigerian land, says wife. Brazil-based Nigerian held with 100 wraps of cocaine in private parts. UI to advertise VC position again, starts fresh election process. Here's as tanker kills 4 traders in Oyo market. Yoruba Nation rally. Police killed my daughter. I want justice, says sales girl and mother. PIB, Dangote refinery orders to buy crude in Naira. SIM NIN telcos lose 20.83 million subscribers and 29.58 billion Naira in revenue. Senate summons ex-NSITF boss over alleged 84 billion Naira embezzlement. And youth arrested in Abuja church over Buhari must go shirt slogans. Okay, let's start with the human interest story. Who has the Brazil-based Nigerian?
Okay,
Who has
yes.
that?
So I have this lady. Her name is Anita, Mrs. Anita Ogbonna. She's a mother of 3. She lives in Brazil and also a widow. And she was arrested at the Nnamdi Azikiwe airport in Abuja for trying to smuggle cocaine. She had, they found 100 pellets of cocaine. She had put 88 up her private part and some of the others in socks in her handbag. She said that one Mr. Emeka, a.k.a. Casey, had promised to pay her 3,000 Naira to transport this cocaine. Yes, $3,000. Even the dollars is even, what is it? $3,000 is small. But $3,000. She said that she wanted to do it so that she could raise money for her father's burial in July, 22nd of July. That was why she did this. So now her 3 children are in Brazil with a neighbor, a Kenyan woman. She said why she decided to do this. I mean, look at the picture of this woman. For burial of her father. I don't think her father will be very pleased with her.
Wow. Let's say the major headline.
Yeah, the major story. So 17 southern governors will be meeting today in Lagos State at 10 a.m. be hosted by the Lagos State governor. And one of the reasons they are meeting is to discuss the order given by the president on the recovery of grazing routes for herders. You know that that issue was raised when the president had an interview when he came to Lagos as a result of the first meeting the governors had in Asaba, where they talked about ban on open grazing across all the states. And so they're going to be having that as their #1 in the agenda. And some persons, responded to Punch interview anonymously, and they were saying that they are suspecting that the agenda for this recovery of grazing routes is to Fulanize the country.
Right.
And so they're going to be discussing all of that. Aside from the grazing routes, they are going to be discussing issues on insecurity, and other things.
Okay, I was going to take the story concerning this, because I know Nima took it last week, concerning the Nigerian with Dr. Kunle Garb, who is an activist. His wife, Remilekum, has complained that the Beninois government are maltreating her husband. If you recall, the Beninois Republic Police subjected her husband to inhuman treatment in a cell for resisting the Benin Republic from encroaching on the Nigerian land. And this is an issue. This is a national issue. And I don't know why one activist is being held for this. And I think it's something that the country should actually get involved in. And they've reached out to Punch, and I'm hoping that this article in Punch would help her get some attention from the federal government to ensure the release of her husband and his counterpart, Benjamin Amosu, who is also he was the one actually translating. He is the interpreter to the court, and he was also arrested.
As well. I want to take the story of the petroleum industry bill. Said it finally was passed in the National Assembly on Thursday. it's been passed before, and the president assents to it. It was returned back. So now we're hoping that this passage would be a final process. One of the parts that wasn't included before that is now emphasized is the fact that Dangote refinery, we tend to emphasize Dangote, but there are like 5 other refineries that have license within Nigeria to refine within Nigeria. All refineries have ability to pay either in Naira or in dollars. So it's about the agreement per time. And they said that since they are refining locally, they shouldn't be compelled to buy crude oil within Nigeria for use within Nigeria and pay in dollars. So that's just the rationale. But so every other one, all the companies that have license to refine now have more incentives to go ahead with implementing refining process. We can't wait, so we stop subsidy payment.
Okay, let's take the Nigerian Tribune. PIB held the North secured funding for frontier basins. Yoruba Nation rally. My daughter got a sales girl job 2 months ago, says mother of victim. Youth arrested in church for wearing Buhari must go t-shirts. NDLEA arrests mother of 3 with 100 wraps of cocaine in her private parts. 2021 UTME, only 803 out of 1.3 million candidates scored above 300, says JAM registrar. Bandits kidnapped nursing mothers, 5 staff in Zaria Hospital, killed 7 in Kaduna. And how delayed monthly remittances cost NNPC 11 billion naira in 2019. Okay, let's take a few stories. Which one?
Yeah, I have the mother who lost a
sales girl.
Yes, the daughter's name is Jumoke, and you know, she was killed when a rally happened in Lagos State, and she's come out to say that the child, the daughter, was actually 25 years, not 14, like the paper said, and she just got a job as a sales girl. Just barely 2 months, because she wanted to support the family. The mother herself is a street sweeper. So she's been struggling to fend for the family, and this girl, the first child, decided to go out there and get a job. She's just worked 2 months into the job before she lost her life, and that she's seeking for justice. She knows that nothing will bring back the daughter, but she needs the government to do something about this. I really don't know.
Who has the Buhari must go t-shirt, or which one?
No, yes, I have that, and I think it's an interesting story that we can take maybe tomorrow as a hot topic, because I want to get the name of the church. So Dunamis International Worship Center in Abuja. So they had these new church members who attended and wore the Buhari must go t-shirt. So when they did altar call, you know, after the service, now there's usually altar call, they came out with that t-shirt. Some of the reports are saying that when they came out, they had somebody who was doing a video of them. So it seemed like they had planned to come to church to get people to join in the protest. But then the church did not want to have any of that. They were not told that that was going to happen. So they got DSS, came in and picked them up. And now everybody's clamoring, why would the church get involved? But I think when we take it...
Okay, let's take another story.
JAM.
Yeah.
So the registrar for JAM has disclosed that only 0.6% of candidates, of the 1.3 million candidates who sat for JAM this year, scored 300 and above. And the reason for the abysmal number of people who really passed is because of all that's been happening, security, insecurity, and COVID. And he says that he's been hearing a lot of people talking about, oh, many people failed JAM this year, but that there's no way, with all that's been happening in the world globally, as well as what's happening in many areas in Nigeria with insecurity, that it would not have an impact on education. And these are one of the things that we would see. He says that, yes, compared to other years, he did a comparison with other years. This year, the last exam shows that this was really the lowest percentage of people that passed from 300 and above. So when we talk about insecurity, when we talk about all these issues, this is what we mean, the impact it will have on people. Some people are not in school. Some schools are closed down. Some people didn't write their exams, all because of insecurity.
Right. Okay, moving on very quickly to Vanguard. Attack on Soka home. Sunday Igboho sues DSS, demands 500 million naira damages. Bandits, Boko Haram, not same as Kanu, says El-Rufai. Can regional groups take Kaduna Governor El-Rufai to task? Tanker crashes 10 to death in Ibadan. Ahead of TB Joshua's burial, Lagos government inspects facilities at Squan. Over 1,000 students kidnapped, 6 killed, 273 held in 7 months. Southern governors meet in Lagos today. Human trafficking rising in Edo, Delta, and Kano. And PIB 3% host community equity stake coup against the Niger Delta. I wanted to take the El-Rufai story. So the governor of Kaduna State was saying that there's a huge difference between Boko Haram, the bandits kidnapping, and Nnamdi Kanu. And what he was trying to say was that, according to him, he said that Nnamdi Kanu is a known, identified leader of a proscribed organization. He's identifiable and in constant communication with everyone, so everybody knows where he is. On the other hand, Boko Haram, yes, had Shekau, but Shekau wasn't telling Nigeria to break up. He was, yes, causing mayhem, but he wasn't asking for Nigeria to be broken. And of course, people have taken him to start saying that, yes, Boko Haram was taking territory, so they were actually trying to encroach and take over the country. So that in itself is also
the same thing.
Is practically the same thing, that it was wrong for him to make it, to play the safe card with the Boko Haram and bandits and make it look like Nnamdi Kanu is the real criminal here, when according to them, all have broken the law in one form or the other. So Khan responded to him, and other regional groups said the same thing. I think Afenifere also said the same thing, and they were quite disappointed that the governor of Kaduna State could make that kind of comparison, saying that Boko Haram is different from what Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB were trying to do. Okay, another story? Oh, yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so a gas tanker in Ibadan, had a major loss. According to the story, said the driver lost control and rammed into a shopping complex in the market, and killed about the FRC reported 4 persons died, but eyewitnesses said there were up to 10 people that died. But what happened was that they said a young girl had given a vision earlier that something huge was going to happen, something bad was going to happen in the market, and they were supposed to take 7 days. They closed the market for 7 days. So they just was trying to resume the market that Sunday when the accident happened. Yeah, so maybe the vision, because they said it confirmed from Ifa, and they said they had to go, that something big was coming. So maybe the vision could have extended to 8 days. But another report is saying that they had actually closed for that 7 days, and it was in the midst of the 7 days that some persons still snuck in to sell things when that accident happened and they died. So
okay, but the physical part of the story, what happened to the tank? Let's leave the spiritual. What did they do wrong?
Lost control, I guess.
Lost control and just rammed into it.
Yeah. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're moving on now. We'll continue actually with Vanguard.
Let me quickly take this story. So the U.S. government has reported that majority of Nigerians that have been human trafficking victims from Nigeria that are found within within Europe are from Edo, Delta, and Kano State. He said the trafficking report was obtained in June 2021. So this is latest, that in about 200 countries around different continents, we are yet to meet the standard when it comes to how we are preventing human trafficking challenges. I know that we say this all the time, but I think we should keep on saying it. There is no greener pastures over there. People are made to suffer. Human trafficking amongst people of my in-laws, Edo Delta, as well as Kano State, should reduce, and people should be aware of all this.
So I know NAPTIP is doing quite a bit to help to stop this, but they also need help of Nigerians. We also have to be able to.
We also have case of labor trafficking.
People. So labor trafficking.
The labor trafficking is Middle East.
Even human parts trafficking now is now rampant. So these are things that everybody, these are conversations we must begin to have in churches, in mosques, and all various community levels. Moving on now to Daily Sun. Secession agitation shifts to South-South. 5 killed as tanker crashes into Oyo market. Apapa gridlock, exporters lose $75 billion as 6,400 business deals cancelled by foreign buyers. Bandits kidnapped nursing mothers' babies in Zaria. Kanu, IPOB to drag FG to ICC. 2023 presidency, Bello gets more endorsement. Okay, which story are we taking in, son?
Let me take how the Apapa gridlock is affecting the non-oil export sector.
Right.
And the story is really sad there. And they're saying that because of the Apapa gridlock, exporters have lost $75 billion in 5 years. Annually, they lose $15 billion because of what is happening in Apapa. It says, and of course, because of that, there's less foreign exchange that the country is making. About 10,000 people, exporters, have lost their jobs because of this. And those who are still trying to manage to do this job have been accruing massive losses because the cost of freighting goods out of warehouses to the ports is huge.
And transportation
many
slow.
contracts. They said about 64,000 contractual agreements have been cancelled in the last 4 years. And the reason is because they don't meet the deadline for delivery. And so when that happens, all the foreign counterparts are just cancelling all the contracts. And they also said that for many of the things that Nigeria exports, other African countries are also doing it. So there's competition. So all the cocoa, the cashew, the sesame seeds, all other African countries are doing that. So we need to look at this thing just beyond being a nuisance on the street, that this is affecting livelihoods, affecting our GDP.
The price of cashew dropped by 50% in 2019, just 1 year, simply because most of the orders were cancelled. People were stuck in the airports. I mean, at the ports. They were stuck with the ports with cashew goods and nobody to deliver to. So they had to drop their prices. So when I'm explaining to an investor that, oh, the cashew is doing very well, they say, but what happened in 2019? What happened in 2020? It had nothing to do with demand. It's simply because we couldn't meet supply. And the impact is a whole lot. So we should stop paying lip service to the issues of getting foreign exchange into this country. There are many industries that would do well if only we would create ease of doing business, ease of exporting.
Annoying. The major story. So the leadership of Ijaw Nation are soliciting the support of the British government to break away from Nigeria. A delegation was sent. They had a meeting. Why are you smiling? They had a meeting with the representatives of the British High Commission in Bayelsa State, and they were, saying that the British forced them into Nigeria, told them that Nigeria was going to be a better place, and then abandoned them to their fate in Nigeria, that they are expecting the British to step in. They are the ones that have the moral justification to take them out of the country that they abandoned them in.
Take them how? Take them out how?
So they said they want to secede, but they will go peacefully, they will go legally if nothing is done. So they had a few conditions that they tabled, and they said one of the conditions is the federal government needs to do true federalism. That's one. Secondly, they don't want to be scattered anymore. No, so the Ijaw, it seems like they are a minority, but they are not. They are in almost every state. You have Ijaw, yes. So they have been scattered all around. They say they can't continue living as slaves in their own land. They want to be resettled.
The summation of this is that there are no more slaves amongst us. Everybody's woken up. There's no more minority.
Yes.
Everybody is a stakeholder.
Yes.
And we now have to come to the table together as an equitable team to say, okay, what are we going to do to ensure everybody is given that kind of
all we are waiting for is who will start the conversation.
Yes, and now, and if we don't, do something about the majority of the minority, something about this,
party's over for the other.
Every place, every section will be saying that they want to secede, they want to go away.
I have one quick story. Sadly, yes, an Audley died. He was attacked. Audley and driver attached to an APC chieftain. So this man is the APC youth leader in Delta State, Chief Michael Johnny. They were taking, this Audley is attached to him, they took his wife to the church, and the driver and the Audley were about to run another errand, and they were both shot dead. It was like, they thought they were carrying, because it was a tinted car, they thought they were carrying the VIPs they are meant to carry. And now we've lost another gallant police officer and inspector who died in service, but it's a technical service, driving the wife of a VIP. I really think we need to go back to how we are using our security officials. Let them do the job of securing majority. Let private security officials handle VIPs. We need to stop this.
I think they even call them back sometime.
They call them back. I'm even surprised about this because the law says that they shouldn't do this anymore. But now
let me take the Sunday Igboho story. So Ilana Omoodua has said it is assembling senior Yoruba lawyers to ensure the release of the aides of Chief Sunday Igboho during the raid that happened in his house over the weekend. And Igboho, who is also the promoter of Yoruba Nation, has gone underground. So many lawyers have been assembled, and they are suing the federal government for 500 million naira, saying that they didn't follow the right due process. That what they are going to his house was an attempt to kill him, not to call for an arrest. That if an arrest would have been done through the right process of getting a warrant or inviting him for questioning. But going to raid his house was obviously a direct indication that they were going to kill him. And that's what Sunday Igboho is saying, that he therefore suing the federal government for this. And he has also debunked the claims of the DSS, saying that the weapons displayed by the DSS did not belong to him. He said 2 guns were taken away from his house, and the 2 guns belonged to the police orderlies of his guests. He said other things were from his house. So he acknowledged that the other charms were from him, but all the other police that were not from him. Okay, moving on very quickly to the point. Inside PDP's troubled house. How kidnappers raked in 2.5 billion naira from operations in Southwest Forest in 4 months. Turn yourself in for arrest. Drop agitation for Yoruba Nation. Oshun Monarch tells Igboho. Which story are we taking? And despite IPPIS implementation, FG's wage bill to hit 4.22 trillion naira in 2022. Which story are we taking?
The IPPIS story. Okay, so the IPPIS was an initiative started since 2007 to help unify all payments from the federal government. Now, the president went more aggressive with the implementation that everybody that is being paid by the federal government must be on the IPPIS. People fought against it back and forth, but most of them have been integrated. Despite the IPPIS, which is to reduce ghost workers, our wage bill is going to, the budget proposal for 2022 is putting our wage bill at 4.22 trillion naira. That's a whole lot of money to be spent paying wages. Good side to this is that they actually saved money. Specifically, the government was able to save 273 billion naira by IPPIS cutting off ghost workers, but we still have a lot of people that we need to pay, and the government isn't making money. These people will probably be paid with loan.
Wow.
The economy is not...
We have to wrap up. Any final stories?
That's an investigation that showed that 2.5 billion had been raked in by various kidnappers, especially in the southwest, Oyo, Oshun, Ekiti, and Ondo and Ogun State. And they're saying that Lagos has reduced drastically because the security surveillance in Lagos is stronger than most of these other states. And they, they are getting targets. Their targets are usually relatives and family members of politicians and high businessmen, and they are really making money out of it. So it just highlighted a few stories of people who were kidnapped and ransomed.
We have to run. Unfortunately, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, our hot topic is Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna State. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, the story of how Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna State withdrew his son, his beloved son, from public school was all over social media. If you could recall, last year, the governor enrolled him in one of the northern Nigerian oldest public schools with pride and confidence. However, there were mixed reactions from Nigerians when he withdrew his young man. And he has responded since that news broke out that, listen, it was unsafe for his son to remain in that school. When he came out with that information, parents now went for him. So you have information that our school is unsafe, and you carried your child. What are your thoughts on this? Please call us on 081-270-53687. 091-390-76948. You can also send us messages on YouTube and Facebook. We'd love to hear your comments. So what are the general thoughts first? The fact that he withdrew his son from the public school. I mean, we all cheered him on last year when we heard that his son actually attended a public school. What are your thoughts? Let me start with BC.
Okay, so for me, I personally think that when he enrolled the child into the school, there was a lot of public adulation. He received all the praises. People were happy. It sort of brought hope back to the parents in that state, Kaduna State, that at least public school, for the governor to put his child in a public school, that means there is hope that the public schools will now start measuring up. Because I heard that before he even brought the son to the school, they had to do some form of renovations in the school to bring it up to standard a bit for the child to be able to attend. And so it gave a lot of parents hope that, okay, maybe something good will come out of this public school system. And everybody applauded him. Now, he got information that something was about to happen. He actually got information that he was being a target. And according to the stories, they said they had intercepted about 2 2 times, kidnappers that were coming to abduct the son because they wanted to pay him back. Maybe you said you will not pay ransom. So if we take this, your son, let's see if you will not pay ransom. So he decided to remove the child silently from the school after COVID-19. So when every other person, came back to school, they were expecting the son to resume, and they realized that he wasn't coming. So that silently was where I had the problem. You could have said, okay, I heard intelligence that something is about to happen, and it's targeted at me, and I want to take this child away. So it shows that you have respect for the people, because you've raised their hopes that if you can be here, that means the school is worthy enough to have their own children. Now you got an information, and silently, so that silence is where I had a problem.
Mara, let me come to you. I mean, because it's easy to look at this from the side of the governor, but nobody's looking at this on the side of the mother.
Of the father. And me, I'm on the side of the mother from the very beginning. So I understand Nigerians' the sentiment, really. Because you're looking at it like, so for those of us that do not have the choice, that cannot take our own children out and put them somewhere safer, what does that mean? What are you trying to say to us? So I get that sentiment. It really feels like a betrayal, especially for the parents of the students in that school as well. Like, oh, so there must have been something that is coming to us, and you just quietly saved your own child. So I get that. But as a mother, from the beginning, I just thought it was a bit, on, I'm trying to look for a nice word, like it was not right. It was not proper. It was not well thought out. Because you're a man in a certain position, a man in a strategic position. And all over the world, people who are in strategic positions, leaders of countries, and, their children are put in places that first their safety is paramount. It's just normal that people will target people like that. They will target your family, and whatever they think, and wherever they think there's a loophole, they'll take advantage of that. I remember when Prince Harry joined the British Army and went to Afghanistan, it was quiet until he was done with his own exercise and had left before we knew that he was part of that exercise. Because what will happen, apart from targeting him, you also put the whole crew at risk. You put that whole school at risk when you say that there's a sitting governor's son in a school like that, especially at a time like this.
And it's those state funds you used to get you out.
So now, secondly, for me, I hope it teaches the governor to be more sensitive to the plight of people, because he now understands, because it also proves to me that if his son had been kidnapped, he would have paid ransom. He would have. I mean, you were moved. He would have. You were moved to the point that you felt he was unsafe and you moved him. That same mindset, you will pay ransom.
And that's your own interpretation.
And as a mother, I don't know how he slept with the mother in the house constantly, because I'm like, you're using my son to prove a political point. Don't use my child for something like that.
Okay, but in the reports, he didn't say that there was harm coming to the school. It was targeted specifically at his own son. That because I have said this, my own son is at risk, not the school. So
but the school that be collateral damage.
I'm looking at a different angle of it. That yes, he can make that defense that I didn't have any issue. The school wasn't the problem. My son was a target, and because of that, I quietly removed him.
So for me, quietly removing the son still puts the school as a target, because the kidnappers did not know the son is no longer there, so they will still easily focus on that school, thinking that he might still put the school. But you see, for me, the first thing is there are a few characteristics of a leader, and what we need in this country right now is leadership. And there are a few characteristics that we must use as metrics to measure how well our leaders are. One is sacrificial leadership. You cannot lead a country out of crisis without willing to make sacrifices for your country. Exemplary leadership. We hailed him thinking he was an exemplary leader, doing something that would cause positive change within the educational sector. He did a behind-the-scene U-turn and did not inform anybody. Then the idea of servant leadership. Then the idea of a service-driven leader. All these characteristics, do we have them in our leaders? Like when we observe our leader, what do we see? We always have to come back to remind ourselves, what are the quality leaders we've had? Leaders who who don't feel they are more important than other people. One of the biggest challenges we have in Nigeria is that there are no opportunities for people. if I'm not seeing opportunity here, then I'll go to where opportunities are. If I'm not safe, I'll go to where safety is. So we are migrating our best hands everywhere. And the leaders we have are not willing to make that sacrifice of, I am willing to pay the price for this country to work. I don't mind I die. I will make this country work. We have leaders that say, I cannot come and kill myself, but you can live your life funded by the resources of a country you're not willing to die for. Okay, they will be there.
So I get that. But let us compartmentalize. This man is a father, a governor, a husband. He's playing various roles.
Yeah.
So as a role as a governor, he feels that, listen, I am already investing in education. I'm going to put my child in this because I'm going to ensure that these schools are doing well. Yeah. But when there's a security issue that can affect your child, you put on the cap of a father. Yeah. As a father, what do you do?
You're a father
because,
to one.
No, you're a father to your child.
You're meant to be a father to all.
But you're a father to your child first. Let's put yourself in his shoes.
Yes, first.
It's easy for us from here. He's our father.
Not
He's
our father.
first a father to his child.
Yeah.
And what he owes his child is safety.
Yes,
just like you said, you're right, maybe the gesture of putting him in public school was good. But when his child's safety specifically was at risk, he had to take his child
out. As long as we are all taking care of our own children, the country would continue to collapse.
The thing for me is, I've always said here that if we want a change, especially in the educational sector, we have to make it that those people at the helm of affairs do not have another option because you have chosen to serve. So if you have chosen to serve, you will not be able to go outside for medical care. You will not be able to take your children outside for schooling. That's outside the country for schooling. It has to be here so that you can deploy the resources to make it better. Because at first, like you said, you are a father first to your child. And the way we are here, you put your own family first before other people. And we're still there. But if we put those laws in place, it will help us bring the resources together and build the country. That's one. So people were excited that he was showing example by putting his son there. But when he now heard that a security issue, now that school particularly, they said they had brought down the perimeter fencing. The school was open. People could walk in. Boys were coming in to play football and all of that. The school was not safe. It would be unfair for him not to take his son away.
We have to go on a break, I want us to make some. I want to be very, very clear. Yeah. So at the point, you see, okay, when we come back, we'll take this angle. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still on this issue of Governor El-Rufai. I know it's always easy for us to see things from one side. But if we look at it on the flip side, you know, there is an angle that the governor was also looking at the safety of the school at large. Saying that my son being a target, being in this school, might not be safe for the rest of the school. Let me take him out so that you guys will be as safe. I can always find a way to keep my son safe. But the school itself might not be safe because my son is there. So that's another angle to look at it. But my question to you is that when a governor removes his son from a public school, because somebody was sending me a message here that he gave people hope, but did that mean that he stopped funding education? Did that mean he stopped paying their salaries? Did that mean that he stopped the support the government was giving to education because he has removed his son? So why are we automatically saying the removal of his son automatically means that, there's no more focus on education? Why do we have that sentiment? Is that the most convenient sentiment to have? Or is that the real objective of the situation?
So that's what I was even going to go next, which is I do not think that taking out his son for security reasons automatically means that education or that particular school, the standard of education has dropped. Many people are taking their children out of school in the northern areas. Many schools have closed down. And they were not closing down because of the standard of education. They're closing down because of security. So these are two different issues that we're talking about. It does not automatically mean that public schools are not, or that particular public school is no longer a good school. But because that school has become a target, a student has become a target, and of course, you know, eventually, by extension, the school will become a target. Imagine when they try to come into the school to pick up that boy, kidnappers are going to just shoot at everybody, students and teachers. And imagine as a parent thinking, because you put your child in my child's school, that's why my child has been kidnapped today. So you know, that's another conversation we'll be having.
Let me get this call. Hassan, are you there? Hello, Hassan.
Please, let me put this in a proper perspective, please, so that everybody will understand. A lot of people don't know that the son of El-Rufai is the target of those bandits. That's number one. Number two, I remember that El-Rufai is the chief security officer of Kaduna State. And the only way, the only source of making chunks of money by the bandits is for government, state government, to pay ransom. And we all knew he put his foot down not to pay in order to bring an end to the banditry. That's number two. Number three, a lot of people don't understand Hausa. So it's very easy for people to criticize because you don't understand the language of the bandits. Their whole target is El-Rufai to break this guy and make him to give them money from the coffer of state government, in which he put his foot down not to do. Number two contribution today is this. Please let us forget about governors talking about IFO and what have you. It's a distraction. Let them concentrate on giving us the dividend of democracy. All these issues of appendatory IFO, governors talking, is a distraction. Let them face the realities on the ground. We have much more problems on our hands. Dollar is $500 or something now, and our economy is an import-dependent economy. Let all of us sit up and give us the dividend of economy. A lot of dividend rule tends to good money.
Thank you very much, Hassan.
Thank you. Of course, what Hassan is saying would make sense, except the fact that 3 children were shot dead because the governor did not pay ransom. And 3 families that have raised their children to the point of university just had the misfortune of being in Nigeria. So it comes to, may Nigeria not happen to you? Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. If you have chosen to become the governor, many politicians will say, how much is the salary safe? What are we even enjoying in office? Then why are you there? Nobody forced you. Nobody put your name on the ticket. Nobody forced you to go and campaign. You said you could solve the problem. You saw that Nigeria had lots of problems. You went to campaign. You carried yourself and your family. Made people vote for you because we thought you could help solve our problem. Then something happens and you are willing to sacrifice lives because you feel, see, at the end of the day, until we get it right with leadership, every other thing will continue to go bad. And until we see sacrifice on the part of our leaders, it is not going to be, it will cost us a whole lot to save this country.
Let me sure I understand you, Tope. He doesn't want to take money from the coffers of the government, money that they don't even have. Remember, allocation has totally dropped. Yeah. He doesn't have money. He hasn't paid salaries. He sacked 4,000 teachers because I can't afford salaries. Now you're saying, pay ransom from these same coffers that there's no money. Yes, I understand the exigencies of the situation. His child, yes, so that's the sentiment. If it was my child, I would beg him to pay ransom. But you understand where that uneasy. So when you say uneasy head lies the head, yeah. But how in that kind of balance?
What's the focus?
What would we do? What do we do?
What does a leader do when you are faced with crisis?
Let me ask you that question. What would you have done?
So for me, at the end of the day,
borrow money from Lagos State to pay.
We need to get those children out.
No. Would you have removed your child or not? To you, as the governor. Would you borrow from Lagos State?
Let's ask direct questions.
I will not apply to become a governor for a problem I cannot solve. Number two, I have said is that this ransom that we're discussing should have been paid before any child got dead. Yeah. You can now, can we say we cannot trace money? You are paying people money every time. You cannot trace the money. So is it that they cannot, when money goes out, the money is kept for years, that nobody is spending that money?
Yes.
Maybe they are not solving the problem. But I'm saying you pay and you follow the money. We are not ready to pay. We're not ready to solve the problem because our leaders have excuse. They have options. Okay, their child can go out. They can go for
I would have loved that when he finally silently removed the child, that he fortified that school. He protected the other children, because the truth is, like somebody mentioned, the bandits may not even know that the child has been removed. Yeah. And even if they know, they may still decide to come to that school. Yeah. It's on record, that your child was in this school and we have come. Let us see if he will pay ransom or not. So whether he has removed the child or not, he has endangered that school. Okay, the school is still open in parameters. They should fortify that place and put security guards in that school. That's what I expect.
Thanks for calling.
Yes, hello.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm on Tope's side this morning. El-Rufai should just come out and tell us that he has failed Kaduna State. Because when he put his son there was a publicity stunt that, hey, this is the almighty governor that feels the pain of the common man. And when the tide turned, he secretly removed his son. So the son of the poor man in Kaduna State, does it matter? The children that were being kidnapped in those universities, does their life matter? Kaduna government should come out and say, Kaduna people, I'm very sorry, I failed you guys. I campaigned on turning Kaduna to be the second mega economic security state. But I have failed. Let him come out and tell us he has failed.
Let me stay on you for a second. What of the flip side where he was thinking about the safety of the children in that school and now took out his child because he knew that, hey, if I leave my child here, if bandits come, they take everybody else. I'd rather handle my own child privately. Do you think that might be what he's thinking? For the safety of the other children?
No, I will not take that.
Okay.
You know why I will not take that?
Yeah.
Because Nigerian politicians don't think that way, Morayo.
Okay.
Nigerian politicians do things for publicity stunts.
Okay.
See, I was one of the few people that know that what El-Rufai did last year was just publicity stunt. It will not last. Even if this security, Kaduna State don't have security situation, El-Rufai will still remove his son.
Thank you very much, Amalara, for that. Yeah. So thank you very much. So last year, he put his son, or we hear he put his son. Nigeria said, publicity stunts. He removed the son. We told you. So it's like, this is how we have their hands. Let me go on a break. We have to come back. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still on this issue, but we have breaking news that bandits strike in Kaduna School, abduct students. We don't know the numbers yet, but that's what's breaking right now. We'll come to that story as soon as we have more reports. I'm told that Zachary is waiting on the line. Good morning, sir. Are you there? Oh, we lost that call. Mariam, let me let you have a final.
Yes, I was just going to go on the reports I read last week, and UNICEF was saying things about the insecurity and how it's affecting education, and how we have so many out-of-school children, not only because of the insecurity. And they're saying that the shutting down of schools is not the answer, but that the Nigerian system the federal government has to find ways to fortify schools, make sure that there's more security presence, there's improved security around schools. And so that's where I was going to go with this conversation, that we make sure that not just this particular Kaduna school, but all schools across Nigeria are properly secured.
So we're going to wrap up on this because, I mean, it's really, I have the name of the school now. Just now, I'm told that it's some armed bandits on Monday today attacked Bethel Secondary School.
Oh, God.
Mara in Chikun local government area of Kaduna State. We don't have the number of students yet, but obviously this is Bethel Secondary School. And we really hope that the government of Kaduna State can do something to ensure that these bandits are caught and the children are returned to their family. Now, let's move on to our next segment, which is talking about this. We have the I'm told that Emmanuel is... Okay.
We lost him.
So we have a spokesman for Arewa Consultative Forum, Mr. Emmanuel Yahweh. He'll be speaking to us on various matters of national exigencies at this critical time in our nation's history. Welcome with us, Mr. Emmanuel Yahweh. Are you there, sir?
Yeah, I'm here. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Good to have you on the show. So we are quite worried about the Arewa perspective to a lot of issues, prevalent issues on security, governance, now restructuring. That's a conversation across the country. I mean, it's even painful now. We just heard that some students in Kaduna State have been kidnapped. In your view, I'd like to start with your own general perspective concerning the issue of insecurity. Do you feel the government is doing enough? And do you think that these calls for secession, self-determination, is it the right thing at this time? Because we've seen the arrest of Nnamdi Kanu and the invasion, raiding of Igboho's house. In your view, how best can the government begin to address these issues specifically at this time? Did you get that, sir?
Yeah, I got only my view on the security situation.
Yes.
The others, I didn't quite get it.
Okay, so in summary, I wanted to hear your thoughts on the secessionist moves and self-determination moves by various regions. Now even the Jaws are saying they also want to secede. So what are your thoughts? What's the government doing, and are they doing enough to stop all these various secessionist agitations across the country?
Well, at least Arewa has not said they are going to secede, so we can clear ourselves on that. We believe in Nigeria, and we believe that Nigeria can be better managed than the way it is now. But we don't believe secession is the answer to solve our problems. It may even complicate the problems. And the way Nigeria is integrated now, it's not a question of going to sit on a conference table and say, you go this way, you go this way. It will not happen like that. It will happen the way it happened in the 60s. And anybody who was part of that war or who was alive during that war will not pray for something like that to happen in Nigeria again. So we don't want secession.
Okay, so if you say you don't want secession, Mr. Yahweh, let me be clear that I understand. If you say you don't want secession and you like the way Nigeria is, do you feel all the regions are equitably, their needs are equitably met with the current situation we are right now? Or do you agree that we need to renegotiate this marriage called Nigeria?
I agree with you. And in fact, you didn't quite get my statement wholly. I said we believe that Nigeria can be better managed. That is, we are not happy with the way it is being managed now. We are not happy with the way it is being managed now. But you see, people come up with a lot of suggestions that in the end don't make sense. Sometimes people talk about restructuring. And the same people who talk about restructuring are very loud in talking about secession. So that is why we took a position in Arewa Consultative Forum that in as much as we believe in federalism, because that is what our forefathers recommended before we got independence, we believe in federalism. That's the best system that Nigeria will run for itself. But the problem is the same people who are talking about restructuring are the same people who are talking about secession. So how do you restructure a country that does not exist? Mm-hmm. Is that the kind of restructuring they want? That is why we took a decision that, look, before we discuss, we take our position on restructuring. Right. We must all agree that we believe in Nigeria. Okay. Let Nigeria be one, and then let us restructure it. But if you don't have a country, what are you going to restructure? Okay, point taken. That is our problem.
Okay, sir. When it comes to Arewa and many of the issues that come from there, many people feel that they do not hear the voices of the leaders in that area. Now we're talking about insecurity. Look at, sadly, another group of students have been kidnapped in Kaduna State. Recently, the Board of Trustees chairman, has put the blame of insecurity at the doorsteps of the governors, or the northern governors, and saying that they are not doing enough. Please, are you of the same sentiment? And if you are, could you articulate it for Nigerians to understand that the leaders in the north are aware of the issues that are happening in the north and are asking for a better way to handle this. Because, you know, it's always, people in the North don't even speak up. They don't even know what is happening. They don't have the same energy that they are chasing after other things as the ones that is right at their doorstep. What is the real issue? Why are we not handling this properly?
Hello, sir. Did you get that?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
I'm surprised somebody will say we are not speaking out in the North. You can accuse any other person, but you cannot accuse Arewa Consultative Forum of not talking out against insecurity in the North. We have always spoken out. In fact, the most serious communique we issued was in October last year, when this insecurity thing was getting too much. We issued a very strong statement. And, you know, we said, look, this country is going into fire because of insecurity, especially in the North. The way we operate is that once we hold an Arewa consultative meeting, we have people from all the local governments in the North, all the states in the North, and we ask them, what is happening in your local government? What is happening in your state? And all of them, almost all states, come to us with complaints of insecurity, except a few states. So we're worried. We have complained. We have issued statements. But we are not government. We don't have army. We don't have police. We can only complain. We can only shout. What do people expect us to do? Just last week, the Board of Trustees of Arewa Consultative Forum met in Kaduna. I was there. And Ambassador Shehu Malami complained bitterly against the governors of the North. When somebody of that pedigree, somebody of that background comes out, and it was carried in all the newspapers, almost all the major newspapers, complains bitterly against governors of the North, not President Buhari. He said governors of the North are not doing enough to help the North and to help the country because of this insecurity. So when somebody comes here and says, we don't complain, we complain.
Okay.
Maybe we don't go about abusing our leaders the way other people do, but we complain.
All right, let me get a few more questions in for you. I have a lot of questions for you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, you know, I wanted to take you up on what you said earlier, that the same voices that are clamoring for restructuring are the ones clamoring for secession. And I beg to disagree, because I know that the secessionist groups came as a result of the failures of governments to protect their people. And the voices of restructuring is actually higher than the voice of secession. We can pick those people who are clamoring for secession. But I want to ask you, if you were in the position of the presidency, with all the clamorings and all the agitations, what do you think is the right step to take right now? What should the president do? Hello, sir.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please. Did you get that question?
Okay, I got it. You see, before we became independent, the British, even though they were colonial masters, they came here and took everything and made us virtually slaves. Once they wanted to hand over power, there was a process they followed. They went from ward to local governments and all that. Before these constitutional conferences, which Awolowo, Tafawa Balewa, Joseph Taka, and all the others attended, both in Nigeria and abroad. And they came to the conclusion that about 99-point-something% of Nigerians wanted federalism. So if I were president, I will adopt the same policy. I will adopt the same process. Let's go through the Nigerian hierarchy and know what Nigerians want. Is it that they want a breakup? Do they still want federalism the way they want it? That is why we are still sticking to this referendum. We want a referendum. Do people even believe in Nigeria at all? Some people don't believe. Some of the statements you hear are frightening. Do these people know what it means to break up at all when they are making this advocacy? Do they know? the implications of what they say. Yeah, the statements are really frightening.
Okay, sir.
If I were the president, I'll call for a referendum.
Okay.
Let's all agree that we believe in Nigeria. Then we'll agree that let's restructure Nigeria. The truth is that every Nigerian before independence voted for federalism. But the military came and started killing people, brutally, killing our leaders. Killed the prime minister, threw his body in the bush, went to Kaduna. The Sadona was sleeping with his wife in his bedroom. They shot him there and killed him. They did not only kill individuals, they killed federalism too. Then Ironsi came up with a decree turning the country from a federal republic to a unitary state. That is when we destroyed federalism in Nigeria. So you cannot, in all honesty,
so let me be clear, I get you, Mr. Yahweh. What you're saying is that every group says, listen, we believe in one Nigeria first. When that is unified across the country, then we can begin to discuss restructuring. I wanted to be sure that's what you said. But let's talk about jump in here.
Okay, so what she is saying, which is what Morayo just reiterated, is what every Nigerian is clamoring for, because it's obvious that it's not working. Something is not working. Many things are not working. Even someone blind can see it, that is not working. And they've asked that we should channel our request through the National Assembly, that everybody has access, we all have representatives towards our area. But when we heard the president's speech, and I've heard the response from some of our leaders, it's as if they see our request as an attack against them, and they're not listening to us. How do you believe Nigerians can best approach the needs that we have? We want true federalism. We want security. We want a better economy. We want safety within our environment. But we don't want our statement to be twisted into, they want to take me away from power. We don't want it to be quoted to be that they want to secede.
Unseat the president.
Yeah, we don't want to unseat the president. These are our requests. How can we best put it? And how can we come together as one? What's the best forum you would advise we use?
I'm sorry, your question was not clear.
Oh, wow.
I didn't get your question.
I was just asking that what's the best forum for Nigerians to come together to achieve security, true federalism, better economy? What's the best way for us to say it? How do you believe the Arewa can work with those in the southeast, southwest, and all of us? Because we, at the core, our needs are the same.
Well, to clear your mind, Arewa has always believed in consultation, in dialogue. In fact, just about a week and a half ago, we called on Afenifere, we called on Ohanaze Ndigbo, we called on Pandemic or whatever they call themselves, Papandic something, the Niger Delta people. We called on them. We are still working out the modalities of that meeting. And we're excited with the response of all sections of the country. They have all agreed to come to a round table and let's discuss the way we can move our country forward. Because the way it was going, it was very dangerous. And we hope that after the discussions, the tensions will go down. It's not for the good of anybody that this country should break up.
Right.
And we have fought a war to keep this country together before. It's not out of fear that we are saying, let's remain one. We have fought and won.
Okay.
And the man who fought and won that war, even though he said there was no victor, no vanquished, he was the one who started Arewa Consultative Forum, Jana Yakubu Gawan. It was his idea. When democracy came back in 1999 and everything was going haywire, he said, no, this is not the country I fought to keep it warm. So he set up the motion, which has resulted into Arewa Consultative Forum today. Today, he is the chairman of Board of Patrons of Arewa Consultative Forum.
Right.
And we cannot be working for him, the man who fought to keep Nigeria warm. and start shouting that we want to break Nigeria. That's why when everybody is shouting, we keep our heads cool.
Okay, let me get with you.
One more, just to keep on this topic of, you know, secession, restructuring. Many people have accused the North of having the most advantage from the way Nigeria is being structured today. And that is why Arewa may not necessarily be part of the conversation that is happening concerning restructuring or secessions or calling for self-determination. But, you know, as someone who, as a Nigerian who has seen, like, in the North, the poverty, the illiteracy, you know, the number of out-of-school children, and all that's happening in the North, the way that Nigeria is structured now and the way it's being managed today, does it really and honestly show that the North has any form of advantage from the way it is structured today?
Hello, sir. Are you there?
No, I don't see what advantage the North has. The way Nigeria is structured. There's no advantage. If you are talking of advantage, maybe you talk of the mass land we have, which is very fertile land. But in terms of economy, the whole of the North has no one single bank. The North does not own one single bank. The Bank of the North we used to have has been taken and sold to people who are not Northerners during the bank rationalization and all that. Education, we are far below. In every aspect of life, the North is trailing behind. So I don't see why people say North has taken advantage, except we have the population and we have land, which is very fertile.
Okay. Now let me throw this. Let me hear your view on this. People have accused the government of using kids' glove to handle certain issues like surrounding Sheikh Gumi's utterances, Pantami with NIN, and they are using the sledgehammer for the Southeast Nnamdi Kanu and Southwest Sunday Igboho. And they said that even Governor El-Rufai was saying that we shouldn't compare Boko Haram and the secessionist agitators in the Southeast and all. In your view, do you think the government should call Sheikh Gumi and other northern leaders who have come out seemingly to speak in favor of the bandits and kidnappers? They should be arrested. Do you agree they should be arrested, or they should be left alone as we see today?
No, there's no way I would say that we should be left alone, because we have issued statements cautioning Gumi on some of the statements he has issued. We don't believe in everything he says. Some of the things he says are okay, but some of the things he says are quite frightening and dangerous. When he spoke about religion in the military, that it's Christians who killed Boko Haram, we were outraged in the ACF, and we condemned him completely. Because when you start dividing the army on religious lines, then you have destroyed that army and you have destroyed that country. Because when the people who carry arms start shooting themselves, you are a Christian, you are a Muslim, I will kill you, the country is gone completely. So we don't always agree with Gumi, and we have cautioned him. We want the government also to caution.
All right, sir. So I wanted to ask you concerning the last, before you just answered this question about the way Nigeria is not skewed or tilted to, favor some persons against the others. And you said not really, but we've seen that, especially when it comes to appointment of certain positions, that the federal character principle is not really adhered to. Rule of law is not really adhered to when it comes to the North against the South and all of that. And I also wanted to ask you, the responsibility of developing a region, isn't that why you have leaders in the first place? Because if the Southerners are complaining that some certain positions, especially even in the all companies, all sector and all of that, have been given to the North. Isn't that supposed to be used for the development of their nation? Are we supposed to develop? Are they supposed to have other people develop that place for them?
No, you see, the problem is that Nigerians make the mistake of thinking that if the president comes from the North, he is supposed to use the resources of the country to develop the North. Or if he comes from the South, he's supposed to use the resources of the country to develop the South. Let me give you an example. I went to Otuake, President Goodluck Jonathan's village, and I was told that that was his village. And we were in a bus, a group of journalists traveling in a bus, and everybody said he's a fool because he didn't do anything there. Maybe he took a university there, that's all. But the road to that place was bad, at least as at the time we went there. Or you go to Katsina. Is it that Buhari has taken everything to Katsina? No. Or the North. How has the North improved? You see, that is why we are saying the states have a critical role to play, not necessarily the president. I was asked by somebody, which of the states in the North do I think are on the right track? Well, of course, I mentioned Zulum, the governor in Borno. If you go to Borno and you know what Boko Haram has done to that state, and you know the steps he's taken, the projects he has executed in that state, and they are visible, you can see them. He's done very well. Despite all the war that Boko Haram is waging for all these almost 10 years. And if you go to Kogi too, you see effort by a governor who wants to bring development to these people. So we should stop this question of everybody eyeing the presidency. We should stop it.
Right.
That you are a president doesn't mean you have all the powers. And when a president appoints people, when this problem started, and my friends from the South will say, Buhari, everybody, not everybody, every person, and not. I said, well, he's doing a favor to some individuals, not to the North. Because
all right, let me go.
He has appointed a Northerner, doesn't bring development to that place.
Right. Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have our guest, Emmanuel Yahweh, with us. So, going on to the issue of how we can get Nigeria. Good. I'm happy they are still with us. I'd like us to move into, as we progress into 2023, general elections. Nigerians are saying we need a third force. They're saying that we cannot continue as is, you know. What are your general thoughts as we're proceeding into the election season? What kind of lead, I mean, people are saying is the turn of the South. Do you agree with that? And if you do you think we have what it takes right now to present a candidate, or do you think we need a whole new party to start over?
Well, we have what it takes now to have a democratic system and present candidates and all that. We can conduct elections and candidates will emerge victorious, some will fail. The problem with us is that we are not a political party. We are just a pressure group. Yeah. Now the Constitution, the 1999 Constitution as amended, has reserved the right of presenting candidates at elections to only political parties. You cannot sponsor a private candidate. Every candidate must be sponsored by a political party. So unless that clause is changed, Arewa Consultative Forum will not sponsor any candidate. What we have decided is that let the political parties choose their candidate from wherever. North, South. The North has a history of voting for candidates that are not from the North. You remember President Olusegun Obasanjo. He was massively voted by the Northerners. When even in his ward, he lost. You remember Abiola, who almost made it? He was defeated. He defeated Tofa in Kano. I was in Kano that time. Even in Tofa's ward, Abiola defeated him. So when people start saying that Northerners don't want Southerners to be president, I say, which Northerners? If a Southerner appeals to people and his credentials are accepted by the people, he could be voted. Like I pointed out these two instances. But when the political parties choose their candidates as prescribed by the Constitution, we at Arewa Consultative Forum will then call them and engage them. We want to know how much of the North they know.
Right.
Do they understand our programs? It doesn't matter whether they are Northerners or Southerners. Some Northerners don't even know the North. They don't know. That's why we've had so many presidents, but we are still backward. Some Northerners don't know the North or how to solve the problems of the North. So we want to engage them and interview them.
Okay, go ahead, Mariam.
What are you going to do for the North when you become president? Whether you are a Southerner or a Middle Belter or a Northerner, whatever, we want to know. It will be at that stage that we intervene.
Okay, let me get a few. Go ahead,
Okay, so we know that the Electoral Act Amendment Bill has been,
debated.
Is being debated on, and yesterday we got the report that the leadership of the National Assembly has blocked the proposed electronic transmission of election results. So what they're saying is that when the results are collated, do not send it electronically. And there are many advantages to sending it electronically, of course. Less what they call election mismanagement of votes and things like that, and the counting of the votes. So it's done, everybody can see it from the point it was collated to, INEC, the INEC major center. But the National Assembly is blocking that particular amendment. What do you think? What do you think is the reason for doing that? How does that play into the election for 2023? Is this setting us back, or is there some sort of epiphany or something that they know that we're not aware of?
It is very unfortunate, and I worked with Senator Nnamani, former Senate President Nnamani, on the elections and the Constitutional Review Committee. I was one of the consultants engaged, and we did a very good job. Unfortunately, the government that set us up did not take our project very seriously. We submitted the report, but since we submitted the report, nothing serious has been done. That is one area. There are so many new suggestions that all this electronic voting are contained in that report. And we also suggested that these state electoral commissions set up by the states to conduct local government elections should be abolished all over the country. Because everywhere we went, and we went to the 6 geographical zones of this country to compile that report, everywhere we went, the complaint was against state electoral commissions. Because when they conduct elections, if it's a PDP state, every PDP candidate wins. Councillors, chairman is 100% PDP. When you now move to APC state, when the state electoral commission conducts elections in the state, in an APC state, all the APC candidates just take the victory. So we say, look, democracy should start from the local level, from the grassroots. But what is happening at the grassroots is not democratic. Governors simply handpick those to be chairmen, those to be councillors, and all that. It's not done that way. People will not imbibe the ethics of democracy if this continues. So we recommended that state electoral commission should be abolished, and INEC should be given the power to conduct elections into local governments. They have not acted on that. There are so many things we recommended that have not been acted on, like this electronic voting. It's unfortunate. And it has taken them too long. Right. We submitted this report over 3-4 years ago. Now it's still in the National Assembly. And we were assured before we started our work that they will attend to it speedily.
Okay, let me get a few more questions in for you. Go ahead, Tope.
Okay, so I want to take you to grazing routes, farmer-header clash, and the challenges of the way of life of a group of people from the north, that this grazing, this migration is the way of life of these people, and the clamor from the south, everywhere from Middle Belt downwards, because there were major crises in Benue, major crises between them in Plateau. All the states are clamoring that let us have ranching, let's private businesses run as private businesses. I know someone whose acres of cassava plantation was eaten. Acres of cassava eaten by cows, cattle that came in through the farmland, and this was money invested heavily. So to prevent this, what would you suggest would be the way to migrate the way of life of this ethnic group into the modern times, when we will have less conflicts between the cultures of different people?
Let me give you an example. In 1987, I was involved, that was under the Babangida government. I was involved in running the state government in Gongola, in Yola. And Jibril Aminu, who was the Minister of Education there, came and launched nomadic education in Yola. And we at the state level told him that, look, before this your nomadic education works, settle these people. Settle them. That was the position of the Gongola state government. Settle them, because you can hardly find Nigerians who are willing to teach, who will be following these nomadic people from one dangerous forest to another. That was the position. And up till now, that is the position of most state governments. In the north, the Mieti Alatu, they held a meeting with us in Kaduna and said, look, we are looking for salvation from the government. They should help us. Our children don't go to school. They don't have the skills the rest of Nigerians have. That's why they are being exploited. People come and hire them and use them as kidnappers. They asked us, for all the millions we hear that is being paid to kidnappers, do we know that the highest a kidnapper gets is about 5,000 for risking his life? He said, look, our children are being exploited. They don't go to school. They have no skills. So please, we are tired of this life. If anybody tells you about way of life, he's not an honest person. The people who are living that way themselves are tired. There was a time we held a meeting in Gombe during the Jonathan era. It was a Northeast Economic Summit. And they made some calculations. The Northeast states made some calculations. They said, look, Lagos, before you slaughter a cow in Lagos, you pay tax. And they counted the number of cows that are slaughtered in Lagos per day. And the tax came into hundreds of millions every day.
Wow.
Much more than what all the northern states put together gain. So instead of moving this cattle through the bush and calling it a way of life, endangering your life and endangering the life of sedentary farmers too, why don't you establish modern abattoirs in the north? Settle these people there. Let them graze there. When they want to kill the cow for meat. They'll take it to modern abattoir, make sure it is killed. So say they don't kill it in the Islamic way and all that, but make sure it is killed in the Islamic way. It can be done. Then you can put the meat in the fridge and move it to Lagos, so that we northerners who produce the cow will also start benefiting from it, instead of always fighting. All the northern governors have agreed.
What's the problem?
That look, this free.
So why is it so difficult to implement, especially when they're in agreement? What's the delay? What's the issue exactly?
It's really a problem. It's not something you can just implement with a magic wand. It is a process that has been entrenched. But you know, some state governors have actually succeeded. You know, Kogi has boundaries with 10 states in the north. And you hardly hear of this kind of banditry going on in Kogi. It hardly happens. Some states have taken steps, but it's not something you just implement with like a magic wand. No, it's not possible. This is something that has been entrenched for centuries. So it's difficult to.
All right, let me get your final question in, sir.
Quick one, sir. What is Arewa doing to encourage the youths to get into active politics?
What? Can I hear you again?
I said, what is Arewa doing to encourage young people to get into active politics? We are complaining that we want young people to be in that space for leadership. Are you doing anything to encourage them?
Well, we are happy that they are involved in politics. Yeah. In fact, they are too involved in politics. Yeah. But the type of politics we want them to be involved in is not the type of politics they are doing now. You see young people who didn't go to school, who didn't even finish primary school. Yes. They will start following one big man. They will give them some glamorous, pompous title, PA, SA, or whatever. That means nothing. Essentially, they are thugs. They carry guns. Now, when the elections are over, God save you, that big man. If you go there and you want to collect your gun back, they'll kill you. So they leave these guns in the hands of these dangerous young men. Those are not the type of young men who want to encourage to go into politics. In fact, our chairman, Chief Arewa, always said every politician must have a second address. That means you must be well trained, you must be well qualified, so that when politics is over, because sometimes soldiers come and scatter everything. When politics is over, you have something to do.
To fall back on.
Sometimes you see somebody occupy a big political position and living comfortably during the political era. But once soldiers come, or once he loses that position, he lives like a pauper.
I have to wrap up, sir. Right. I have to wrap up with you, sir, but I need to ask you this final question before you go. So, Nnamdi Kanu has become like a symbol of hope for many Southeasterners. Yes, he's seen as a his group has been prescribed a terrorist group, and he's seen as a secessionist agitator. Also, Sunday Igboho has also been a symbol of hope for some Yorubas, saying that they believe in the Yoruba nation. Because of what these people stand for, how best do you think the federal government should handle their cases at this time?
No, when they arrested Nnamdi Kanu, the ACF issued a statement and said that it should be handled according to the law. The federal government should not take extrajudicial measures in dealing with him. They should follow the law, that's all. It will be sad if people see him as a symbol of hope. After all he has said about Nigeria, calling this country a zoo. This is a very privileged country. This is a country that God has been very kind to. And he call all of us animals. That's what he means when he says the country is a zoo. Our only problem in Nigeria is leadership. But because we have bad leadership, you should not go about abusing people, calling people all kinds of names, and urging people to go and kill innocent people. No. What he did was absolutely wrong. And people who follow him and say he's their hero, he's their this, are making a terrible mistake. One day they will know who he really is.
All right, that's all we can take with you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. We've been speaking with Mr. Emmanuel Yewa, who is the representative of the Arewa Consultative Forum. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. All right, ladies, that's all we can take on the show. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.